Imagine this. The sharpest knife doesn't cut your skin. It cuts your self-worth. And guilt is that blade. Most people think guilt is a sign of love, that if someone makes you feel guilty, it must mean they care. But here's the brutal truth. Guilt is a manipulator's favorite weapon. It doesn't look violent. It doesn't sound loud. But it seeps into your mind, making you question your worth, your loyalty, and even your kindness. You start carrying invisible chains built not from metal, but from constant reminders of what you owe. And by the time you notice, it's already too late, unless you learn to spot the early signs. Today, we'll expose 7 guilt-tripping tricks toxic people use so you can break free fast. Sign 1. The constant reminder of sacrifice. You know how much I've done for you. That's their favorite opening line. It sounds harmless, even noble, but hidden underneath is a trap. Every meal cooked, every ride given, every tiny favor. They stack them up like receipts, and then they hand you the bill. Love isn't supposed to be a loan. Care isn't a contract. But guilt trippers turn every act of kindness into leverage. The brutal truth. When someone constantly reminds you of their sacrifices, they're not loving you. They're controlling you. Real generosity doesn't demand repayment, but guilt tripping turns relationships into debt. And the longer you play along, the more interest you'll owe. Sign 2. The silent treatment with a twist. They don't yell, they don't argue, they just vanish into silence. At first you think they're hurt, so you chase them. You text. You apologize for things you didn't even do. And when they finally break the silence, they say it's your fault that they had to shut down. Suddenly, you're not only guilty for the argument, you're guilty for their silence too. That's the twist. Silence becomes a weapon, not for peace or healing, but for punishment. The brutal truth. Healthy people use silence to calm themselves. Manipulators use silence to control you. And every time you beg them to speak, you hand them more power. Sign 3. Twisting your success into their pain. You finally achieve something big, a new job, a personal goal, a moment of pride. But instead of celebrating you, they sigh. They frown. They say, I guess you don't need me anymore. Suddenly, your victory feels like a betrayal. Your joy turns into guilt. That's the trick. Guilt trippers twist your success into their suffering. They can't stand you shining brighter, so they make you dim your own light. The brutal truth? Anyone who loves you should clap when you rise, not cry when you climb. If your success makes them act like victims, it's not love. It's control disguised as sadness. Sign 4. Emotional blackmail phrases. If you really loved me, you'd do this. That's the classic guilt trip line. It sounds romantic, it sounds emotional, but it's actually a trap because hidden inside is a message. Love is not enough unless you obey me. They use your heart as leverage. They make loyalty a bargaining chip. And suddenly, every choice feels like a test of your love. The brutal truth. Real love doesn't come with conditions. It doesn't say prove it every time you say no. When someone uses guilt as proof of love, they're not asking for care. They're demanding control. Sign 5. Playing the helpless victim. They stumble. They sigh. They act like the world is too heavy. And you rush in to carry the weight. At first, it feels kind, noble, even loving. But soon you realize their weakness is their weapon. They exaggerate helplessness to hook your guilt. Without you, I can't survive. I'm nothing without your help. And every time you rescue them, the chain tightens. The brutal truth. They're not as helpless as they want you to believe. They've just learned that playing the victim guarantees attention, care, and control. Real vulnerability seeks support. Fake vulnerability demands servitude. Sign 6. Public shaming disguised as concern. It sounds like kindness. I just worry about you. But notice where they say it. In front of others. They point out your flaws, your mistakes, your struggles, not to help, but to humiliate. It's wrapped in soft words, but the sting is sharp. Laughter in the room, eyes turning toward you while they hide behind a fake smile of concern. The brutal truth: real care protects your dignity. It corrects in private, never in public. When someone exposes you to others for your own good, it's not help. It's control, dressed as compassion. And every laugh at your expense feeds their power. Sign 7. The endless debt game. With guilt trippers, every favor is a contract. Every kind act comes with invisible fine print. They'll say, "Remember when I helped you last year? After all I've done, you owe me this." And no matter how much you give, the balance never clears. You're stuck on a treadmill of repayment, always running, never free. The brutal truth: healthy relationships don't keep score. Kindness given freely doesn't demand a return, but guilt trippers thrive on this endless debt game, because as long as you feel like you owe them, they own you. And that's not love, it's emotional slavery. Guilt may look small, but it's one of the most powerful chains ever forged. And guilt trippers know it. They remind you of their sacrifices. They punish you with silence. They twist your success, blackmail your love, play helpless, shame you in public, and trap you in endless debt. But here's the brutal truth: none of this is love. Love does not demand repayment. Respect does not keep score, and care never humiliates. The moment you see these signs for what they are, you reclaim your freedom. You stop being someone's puppet, and you start building boundaries that no guilt can penetrate. Remember this: an honest enemy hurts less than a fake friend who cages you with guilt. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever spotted guilt tripping in your life?